Could it be that Egypt and Pharaoh are actually inside of us? And what about the Red Sea? Did that also part in us? And the people of Israel, are they all in us? And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them, on their right hand and on their left. How did the sea part? And where is that place in Egypt where this could have happened? Scientists suggest that the two sides of the parted Red Sea were held by an enormous power made by a tsunami or a volcanic eruption. Kabbalists say that the Torah is not a history book. According to Kabbalah, Pharaoh represents the ego that rules over a person, and that the people of Israel represent the opposite desires of love and bestowal. These totally opposite desires collide in a person and create an inner conflict. And if we feel that the ego is strangling us, that we're literally Pharaoh's slaves, then we seek to free ourselves from this slavery by any means. But it's pretty hard to break away from Pharaoh, our own ego. Occasionally, selfish thoughts will arise. What will I get out of it? What's in it for me? This is Pharaoh speaking inside of us, and I will stiffen Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them. Not even 3 days go by, and Pharaoh regrets that he let the people of Israel go. How could I agree to this? This thought just tears a person apart. It's the Pharaoh inside of us, the ego. And the Pharaoh's and his servants' hearts turned against these people, and they said, "What have we done? Why did we let the Israelites go from serving us?" The Egyptians pursued them and overtook them encamped at the sea. Pharaoh pursues us and comes closer and closer to getting us. In front of us is the raging sea, and behind us is Pharaoh. There is nowhere to run. We have to make a decision to surrender to our ego or drown in the sea, and it's an extremely difficult decision. This one said, "I will not go first into the sea," and the other said, "And I will not go first into the sea." And from this idle standing and arguing, Nachshon, the son of Aminadav, jumped into the sea first. The name Nachshon comes from the Hebrew word nechishut, which means determination. We have this determination in us that can elevate us above all selfish calculations. It is as if we throw ourselves into the sea thinking, whatever happens, I can't live like this anymore. And then a miracle happens. The sea parts into two, and the children of Israel walked on dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on the right and left of them. Our internality is divided into two. One part is Pharaoh, self-love, the ego. And the other part is the people of Israel, love of others, pure altruism. And then we make a decision. We choose to follow the people of Israel and cut off the Egyptians, and they die in the sea. And the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, and let the waters turn on the Egyptians, on their chariots and on their horsemen." And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. Moses is the main quality in a person. The word Moses in Hebrew, Moshe, comes from the word for pulling or attracting, limshoch. Precisely this quality pulls us out of the ego and leads us out of slavery. If we disagree to be slaves, if we finally decide to exit our egos, then the Creator, the upper force of nature, helps us. And then we discover that we're tightly connected with nature. Plants, animals, mountains, deserts, the sun and the moon, the rivers and the seas. We discover that everything exists in harmony, and is driven by a single positive, loving force. This force calls us to rise above our egos, to exit Egypt and cross the Red Sea, and to be born spiritually into a bright, new world, full of love.